Vishnupurana. Naming of Lord Krishna. Once, the supreme ascetic Gargacarya arrived in Gokul. He was the ancestral teacher of Yaduvanshis. Nand joyfully welcomed and treated the hermit. Then Nand requested him to carry out the ritual of naming, and suggest suitable names for both of his sons. Acharya Garg said, "O Nand, everyone knows that I am the ancestral teacher of the Yadavas. If I carry out the naming ritual for these boys, people will understand that they are Devaki's sons." So Nand requested Gargacarya to name his sons secretly. Gargacarya accepted his request, and carried out the naming rituals secretly in Nand's cattle shed. Garg said, "This son of Rohini will cause by his virtue great pleasures for his near and dear ones. So his second name will be Rama. And because of excessive strength, people will call him as Bala also. Since he will unite the people also, so one of his names would be Sankarshan." Thereafter, Garg said, pointing to Yashodanandan, "He has taken incarnation in every age. In the past ages, he had taken white, red and yellow complexions, respectively. This time he has taken dark complexion, so he will be known as Krishna. Once he has been the son of Vasudev, so people will call him as Vasudev also. He will cause salvation for all of you, and great joy for the fellow gopas and cows. With his help, you will overcome even the severe crises. O Nand, this boy will be equal to Narayana in virtues, wealth, beauty, fame and influence. Foster this child with care and earnestness." Thus naming the boys, as per their virtues, Garg returned to his hermitage. Childhood of Lord Krishna. The time passed in Gokul. As usual, Balarama and Krishna, too, grew normally. Soon they began to walk, on knees and palms. With their childish plays they amused men and women folk of Gokul. Everyone took special care of them, and looked after them, to save them from any possible danger. Ladies folk were especially careful about them. Soon afterwards, both the kids began to trot. Now their movement no longer confined within the boundary of their home. Because of his special virtues, Krishna began to lead other kids of his age group, whereas his elder brother Balarama was somewhat serious in nature. Krishna specially enjoyed teasing the girls and milkmaids of Gokul. Often he would eat, stealing their milk, curd and butter. At other times, he did not hesitate even to break their pitchers. In such situations, the lady folk used to gather in Nand's home to complain against Krishna. And every time Yashoda promised them to punish Krishna. But every time, when she proceeded to punish him, she forgot everything before his sweet, innocent smile. One day, Balarama complained against Krishna, "Ma, the little Kanhaiya has eaten mud." Worried about Krishna's health, Yashoda scolded Krishna, "Tell me, O mischievous Krishna, why did you eat mud?" At that moment, little Krishna's eyes were moving with fear. He made an excuse, "No ma, I have not eaten any mud." "They are telling you a lie. If you don't believe me, see yourself." Saying this, Krishna opened his little mouth. Yashoda peeped into his mouth, and what she saw there amazed her. She could not believe it. The entire universe was visible in his little mouth. Yashoda saw strange places, entire Vraj, and even herself, in the little mouth of Krishna. She felt dizzy. With his illusionary powers, Lord wiped out the memory of this incident from the mind of Yashoda, and she again immersed in love with her child. Uttarbandhan and salvation of Yamalarjuna. Once, wishing to feed Krishna with butter, Yashoda began to churn milk in the morning. Very soon, Krishna too awakened, and not finding the mother on her bed, he set out to search her. Soon he found her in the courtyard, where she was churning the milk. He began to insist for breastfeeding at once. So Yashoda stopped churning, and began to breastfeed Krishna. Affection played on her face. Suddenly the milk kept on the firepot began to boil. Yashoda left Krishna, in order to attend the boiling milk. But the unsatiated Krishna, filled with anger, broke the pitcher of curd. Then he went inside, and began to eat butter. When Yashoda came back, she understood the matter, and began to search him with a stick in her hand. After eating butter himself, Krishna was now feeding the monkeys with it. Seeing the mother come in hot pursuit, Krishna jumped over the mortar, and ran away. Yashoda chased him, but soon felt tired because of her bulky body. Thereafter, Yashoda proceeded to tie Krishna, as a punishment. She got a rope and tried to tie Krishna. But the rope fell short by 2 fingers. She joined many ropes together, but the result was same. Every time the ropes fell short by 2 fingers. Soon, Yashoda was soaked in sweat. When Krishna saw his mother depressed, he himself tied in the ropes. Tethering little Krishna to a heavy mortar, Yashoda engaged in usual household tasks. Tethered to the mortar, Krishna glanced at the 2 Arjuna trees, which were standing on the gate, like 2 sentries. He resolved to save them. Maitreya asked Parashar about the trees. Parashar said, the Lord of Wealth Kubra had 2 sons, Nalkaba and Manigriv. One day they were enjoying the sweet company of pretty women, on the bank of Mandakini river. Just by coincidence, Devashi Narada arrived there. Out of shyness, the women folk at once covered themselves, but both the sons of Kubra stood boldly without feeling any shame. Indignant Narada cursed them to become trees, and stay in that form for 100 years. Narada showed kindness as well that, despite being in tree forms, they would have the memory of God alive, and would be saved by Lord Sri Krishna. Thus, to keep the words of his supreme devotee Narada, Lord dragged the mortar to the 2 Arjuna trees. He walked in such a way, that the mortar got stuck between the trees. Krishna then pulled the mortar, and in no time the trees were uprooted. 2 divine men appeared from the uprooted trees, and bowed at the feet of Krishna, and prayed him with pure hearts. Then they departed to their heavenly abode. Migration to Vrindavana. The uprooted Arjuna trees fell with thundering sound. All the people shivered with fear, and felt as if lightning had struck somewhere. All the elders including Nand, met together and discussed the matter. Unanimously they concluded that, of late disturbances had increased in Gokul, and the circumstances were no longer conducive to raise the kids, Balarama and Krishna there. So they unanimously decided to leave Gokul, and migrate to a verdant place named Vrindavana. In their opinion, Vrindavana had ample vegetation and fertility, to support them and their cattle. Thus, on an auspicious day, the entire population of Gokul set out for Vrindavana. They packed their households on bullock carts, and drove their cattle in herds and started in convoy. In Vrindavana, they built their houses and started their life. Parashar says, the verdant environment of Vrindavana, Govardhan mountain, and crystal clear waters, and sandy banks of Yamuna river together filled the hearts of Balarama and Krishna with joy. Along with the fellow cowherds, they began diverse kinds of plays there. Salvation of Vatsasur. One day, Balarama and Krishna were grazing their cattle, on the bank of Yamuna river. A demon, meanwhile, took the guise of a calf and mixed with the herd. Obviously, he had malicious intentions. Lord Krishna had already seen the demon taking calf's guise and mixing up with the herd. He signaled Balarama, and they together reached near the calf. The calf appeared particularly healthy, so Krishna and Balarama mockingly viewed it with admiring eyes. Suddenly they held the calf, with its hind legs and tail twirling it in air, threw it in the sky. When the demon died, they threw him on a kath, wood apple, tree. Salvation of Bakasur. One day, all the cowherds took their cattle to a large pond to let them drink water. That they saw a huge creature sitting like a hillock on the bank. They were frightened by its appearance. The creature was in fact a demon named Bakasur, who had arrived there in the guise of a stork. He was himself very strong, and had a long pointed bill. As soon as the cowherds drew near him, the stork hastily picked up Krishna and swallowed him. Other cowherds including Balarama were stupefied. They could not believe their eyes. But inside the beak, Lord Krishna made him extremely hot, and caused severe burning in demon's throat. So the demon could not swallow Krishna and regurgitated him, and began to hit him with his strong beak. But Lord held his beak with both his hands, and tore the demon's mouth apart. As soon as the demon died, a ripple of joy surged among the cowherds. Salvation of Bakasur. One day, Krishna planned a picnic near Nandanvan. So rising early in the morning, he awakened his fellow cowherds, sounding a horn. Together, all the cowherds, and their cattle, went to the forest. There, on the bank of Yamuna river, they began to play joyfully. Nandanvan was in fact an abode of the demon Bakasur. Kansa had sent him there. Seeing the boys playing, he felt extremely jealous. Knowing that Krishna had killed his brother Bakasur and sister Putana, it seemed an ideal moment for the demon to avenge the death of his siblings. Thinking thus, the demon took guise of a python, and lay in the way, and opening his mouth like an opening of a cave. The cowherds too fell in his trap. Thus driven by curiosity, all the cowherds entered the demon's mouth, one by one. When Lord Krishna saw that his friends had entered demon's mouth, he too entered it to protect them. Bakasur wanted to chew the cowherds, including Lord Krishna, but the Lord increased his body size, and choked the throat of demon. Now the breath of demon stopped. His eyes rolled over, and at last his life left his body through Brahmendra, cosmic pore. With his ambrosial eye, Lord resurrected these dead fellows and their cattle, and they came out of the demon's mouth. As soon as the demon died, a divine flame emerged from the python's mouth. It waited the some time for God. And when Lord Krishna came out, the flame mingled with him. Brahma stealing cattle and cowherds. Parashar says, the cowherds told the tale of Bakasur's salvation to their parents, only after a year of the incident. During that period of 1 year, Lord Krishna multiplied himself and took the guise of his fellow cowherds, and their stock of cattle to remove the illusion of Brahma, who was the cause of the following incident. After Bakasur's life mingled with God, Lord Krishna came with his fellow cowherds, on the bank of Yamuna. They left their cattle to graze freely, and they sat together to take their lunch. All of the cowherds tasted one another's food, as they wanted to feed Krishna with the most tasty food. Meanwhile, surprised by Bakasur's salvation, Brahma too had arrived there, and saw Krishna eating food defiled by the cowherds. With that sight, Brahma grew suspicious whether Krishna was indeed an incarnation of Lord. Thus driven by the illusion, and to test the authenticity of Lord's incarnation, Brahma kidnapped all the cattle first, and when Krishna went out to search the cattle, Brahma kidnapped and concealed the cowherds also. Lord Krishna understood the craftiness of Brahma, so he multiplied himself into his fellow cowherds and cattle. True replicas of the cowherds in appearance, complexion, nature, activities, voice, sticks and even in costumes. The replicas remained in existence for 1 year. When Brahma returned, after hiding the cowherds and the cattle, he was stunned to see the cowherds and cattle as usual. Brahma was feeling dizzy when Lord bestowed his grace on him. Brahma saw Narayana in every dust particle. Brahma therefore bowed at the feet of Lord and said, "O Lord, I submit before you. You can be one only with devotion and not by ego. No one can know your omnipresent appearance." Thus praying and worshipping Lord Narayana, Brahma returned to his abode. The cowherds remained separated from God for 1 year. But they felt as if only half a second had passed because of the illusionary influence of God. That is why they related the incident of Agaja's killing to their parents only after a year. Salvation of Dhanyukaja. When Krishna and Balarama entered 6th year of age, they got the permission to take the cattle out for grazing. Along with their fellow cowherds, the two brothers too began to take their cattle to Vrindavana. Thus they sanctified the earth of Vrindavana with their pious feet. Seeing the beauty of Vrindavana, with beautiful, colorful flowers and sweet fruits, Lord Krishna felt overjoyed. He then used to graze his cattle at the foothills of Govardhan and on the banks of Yamuna river. Playing flute was his favorite pastime. One day Krishna's beloved friend Sudama said, "Kanhaya, there is a beautiful forest named Talvana. It has uncountable numbers of trees, laden with ripe fruits. But a formidable demon, Dhanyukaja, guards that forest. He is very strong. So no one goes there, even animals and birds shun that place. But we are tempted to eat those sweet delicious fruits. If you and Balarama wish, we may go there, and eat those delicious fruits." Hearing this, Krishna and Balarama guided all of them to Talvana. That they shook the trees, and in no time a heap of ripe, delicious fruits have fallen under the trees. All the cowherds began to eat fruits. While eating, they were also making a lot of noise. Disturbed by the sound of fruits falling, and the noise of the cowherds, the demon Dhanyukaja arrived there, as a donkey. He was braying loudly and tried to hit Balarama, but Balarama caught him by his hind legs, and threw him in the air. The demon died in an instant. Since that day, everyone visited Talvana fearlessly, and the cattle grazed there freely.